Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video we are going to be making Max. He is mostly no-sew from his head, his body, and his legs, and then we'll have to sew on his mouth, his ears, and his horn, and then do a couple embellishments around his eyes and his little nose. If you are familiar with my channel and have made any of these little farm animals, you will recognize the pattern. I actually made him first and then adjusted him a bit to make the pig and the goat and the cow and the horse and the chicken. This is a crochet along, so I will be doing pretty much every stitch with you unless I skip some of the repeat rows. But if you get lost or I do something you don't understand, there will be a 30-second drop down with the pattern instructions for every row that you can refer back to. And if you enjoy my videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button, give it a like, or leave me a comment. Not only does that help me out, but that also will notify you when I load new videos. I think that's everything, so grab your yarn and let's get started. Okay, we're going to start with the legs, and you're going to need 4 of them. So you're going to make your knot with the loop on the end. And you can start any way you're used to as long as you have the same amount of stitches in row 1. If you're doing it like me, you're going to insert your hook, grab your yarn, pull up and through, and chain 1. And that is just to attach your yarn to your loop. That does not count as a stitch. And for row 1, we're going to do 6 single crochets into the loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, you're going to do 6 increases. So that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase 9 and 10, and our last increase 11 and 12. Next row we're going to be going in the back loops. So for the back loop, instead of going straight through under both sides of the V, we are going to go down the center of the V and out the back of the loop. So for round 3, we're going to do back loop only, 12 single crochets. Make sure you get in the right first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And you should notice that you have a little ridge going all the way around, and that's going to create a flat spot so that you can kind of stand your guy up. Rows 4 to 6 is 12 single crochets, so that's 3 rows, and I am going to do them consecutively. So 12 times 3 is 36, so I'm going to do 36 single crochets and then just flip my marker every time I hit a set of 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Flip your marker if you're using one. And keep on counting. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Flip your marker and keep on counting. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. And then you're just going to slip stitch into the next stitch and tie that off. And you don't need too much of a tail because that'll just be on the inside when we join the legs. So if you're on your first one, you're going to need to make 3 more. So I will put a screenshot over in the next frame with a timestamp so you can go back to the beginning. And if you're on your last one, you just keep on watching and we'll continue to the next part. Now we're going to start with the head, and we're going to begin just like last time. You're going to make your knot with the loop on the end, like you're going to chain, or however you prefer to start. Insert your hook, grab your yarn, and chain 1, remembering that is not a stitch. That is just to attach your yarn to your loop. And for row 1, we're going to do 6 single crochets into the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, you're going to do your 6 increases. So that's 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around. for a total of 12. So increase 1 and 2, increase 3 and 4, increase 5 and 6, increase 7 and 8, increase 9 and 10, increase 11 and 12. Row 3, you're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 18. So 1, increase, 2 and 3, and then just keep repeating that around. 4, increase, 5 and 6, 7, increase, 8 and 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15, 16, and an increase, 17 and 18. Row 4, you're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. So 1, 2, and your increase, 3 and 4. And just keep on going. 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and increase, 23 and 24. Row 5, you're going to do 3 single crochets, then an increase, repeat that all the way around for a total of 30. 1, 2, 3, and your increase, 4 and 5. And just repeat that around. 6, 7, 8, increase, 9 and 10. 11, 12, 13, increase, 14 and 15. 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, increase, 24 and 25. 26, 27, 28, and your last increase, 29 and 30. Rows 6 to row 10 are going to be 30 single crochets all the way around. And I am going to do them consecutively in a set of 3 rows and then a set of 2 rows. So the first 3 rows we're going to go to 90, and then the last 2 rows we're going to go to 60, and that will give us our 5 rows of 30. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, flip your marker, keep on counting, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, and I'm just going to stop us here for a second. Do you notice how my work is starting to curve up like this? This is how a lot of people get working on the wrong side, or the wrong side. It's whatever side you like, of course, but generally the inside, the right side is this side where you can see your rows going around, and the outside is more kind of like a baskety shape, and then you'll see these bars across. So if you ever find you're working over here with your hook and your work is over here, try flipping it around like this, because you should be working on this side and your work on the back side. So keep your needle between you and the piece you're working on. I was going to do one more row to make it a little more obvious, but it was just feeling awkward to keep it that way. So you want to make sure your thing is curving down if you're making a circle, and all your tails and everything are on the inside. Okay, so we're going to continue on from 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, and 90. So we now have 3 rows of our 30, and we have 2 more to go. So now we're going to start back at 1, and we're going to count to 60 for our last 2 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Flip your marker and keep on counting. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Okay, row 11, we're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 24. So 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4. 5, 6, 7, and a decrease for 8, 9, 10, 11, and a decrease for 12, 13, 14, 15, and a decrease for 16, 17, 18, 19, and a decrease for 20, 21, 22, 23, and a decrease for 24. Row 12, you're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease for a total of 18. 1, 2, and decrease for 3, 4, 5, and decrease for 6, 7, 8, and decrease for 9, 10, 11, and decrease for 12, 13, 14, and decrease for 15, 16, 17, and decrease for 18. Row 13 is going to be 1 single crochet, 1 decrease for a total of 12. 1, decrease for 2, 3, decrease for 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, decrease for 8, 9, decrease, 9, oh yeah, for 10, 11, and decrease for 12. Okay, now it's been a couple of months since I've made a body this way, so let's see if I can get her done in the first try. So we're going to start with the back and we're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops, I didn't grab that all. 7. Now we're going to go down this side of the chain. We're going to do 6 stitches, and then we're going to go around the head, 12 stitches. Then we're going to come back up the other side of the chain with 6 stitches. So starting in your second chain from the hook, 6 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then if I remember right, we do a decrease here. So we need to do 12 single crochets, but because we don't want a space here, our first single crochet is actually going to be a decrease. So we're going to go behind where our first single crochet would be, and we're going to do one decrease. And then that will just keep from there being a hole right there coming from the back to the head. So we need 12 single crochets, so we'll count that one we just did as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And that should bring us back to our chain. And we'll be putting 6 single crochets up the chain. So starting in your first stitch, you'll look for the V over here of your stitch when you went the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the end right here. So it should look like this. All your V's should match on each side. And I forgot to use my stitch marker, so hopefully I did that part right too. And for row 15 now, you're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that all the way around, and then you should have 30 single crochets. And if you don't, we'll fix it over here at the end. So again, let's see if I did this right. 1, 2, 3, and an increase, 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, and an increase, 9 and 10, 11, 12, 13, and an increase, 14 and 15, 16, 17, 18, and an increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, 23, and an increase, 24 and 25. And this will be our last set. 26, 27, 28, and an increase, 29 and 30. So if for some reason you aren't at 30 in this last stitch, just adjust it with another increase or a decrease, so you have a total of 30 stitches here. Row 16, you're going to do 4 single crochets, 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 36. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase, 5 and 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, and an increase, 11 and 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, and an increase, 17 and 18. 19, 20, 21, 22, and an increase, 23 and 24. 25, 26, 27, 28, and an increase, 29 and 30. And this will be our last set coming up. 31, 32, 33, 34, and an increase, 35 and 36. Rows 17 to 20, you're just going to be doing 36 single crochets all the way around, and I'm going to do 2 rows at a time. So 36 times 2 is 72. So I'm going to do the first 2 rows, 72, and then the second 2 rows, 72. And then we'll have our 4 rows. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36. Flip your marker and keep on counting. 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, and 72. So that was our first 2 rows of 4. We have 2 more to go, so we're just going to start at 1 again and go to 72 like we just did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Flip your marker, keep on counting. 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, and 72. I just have to have a peek because this seems shorter than this. So, yep, there's definitely one more row in there. So we're going to do one more row of 36. Oh, that's going to throw off my count here. Oh well. All right, so 36 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36. And I forgot, so that is now going to be row 21 we just finished. And don't worry about this little point. We'll be putting the tail on there, so you're not going to notice that once we're done. Okay, now we're going to do row 22. And I'm going to space that out on top, so we are kind of doing, you're crocheting what I have on top instead of just putting the full row. And we're going to start with 2 single crochets. 1, 2. Now grab one of your legs, and you want the knot where you tied off facing you, because once we're done, and the foot, the bottom of the foot facing down, because when we're done, this foot is going to flip up like this, and we want that knot to be in the inside. So fold it in half so the knot's kind of in the middle somewhere facing you. And you're going to have 6 stitches on this side that you're going to go through, and 6 stitches on the body that you're going to go through. So come over on this side of your leg somewhere. And in your next stitch of the body, and you're going to put 6 single crochets through the one side of the foot and the other side of the body. So 1, 2, so through the foot and the body, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then you're going to do 3 single crochets across. Make sure you're in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3. Now take your second leg and exactly the same with your tie facing you and the bottom of the foot down. Fold that in half, starting on the far side over here. You're going to put your 6 single crochets through the leg and the body. 1, 2, 3, and take your time. Make sure you're going in the right stitches. I'm trying to go slow, but if I'm going too fast, pause it and do your leg and then come back. 4, 5, and 6. Now you're going to do 3 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3. Grab your next leg, knot towards you, bottom of the foot down, starting over in the far side. Go through the foot and the body, 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now do your 3 single crochets across. 1, 2, 3. Now grab your last leg, tie towards you, foot on the bottom, and do your 6 single crochets through the foot and the body. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, I almost didn't go through the body there. 6. And now remember you did 2 on this side, so you're going to do 1, so you have the 3. So our third one in the back, kind of, I guess. 1 single crochet. Okay, now we are going to put our eyes on. And if you're good at guessing, you can do that right now, but I'm going to put a little bit of stuffing in the head just so I can kind of see the shape that it's going to make. This is the way I do most of my things. But it is a bit of a pain because then you got to take it out when you put your eyes in. Okay, so we got that kind of a roundish shape. We got our feet. We're going to use our feet for our center. And just so we can kind of see where the center is at top, I'm going to put my darning needle up top. And I'm going to use a pin. I'm just going to kind of come up straight towards that darning needle, somewhere close to the center, and then just put my needle in, kind of have a look at it, see if I'm happy with that. And now we're going to count down this way. I have these eyes on the sky between rows 7 and 8. So this will be row 1 where you started your first loop of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, and I put it in the right spot. I thought it was too high. So just under your 7th row between rows 7 and 8. And I am using 10mm eyes. I just got to put this, I'm putting my needle in between 2 holes, so I'm right kind of on a bar of a stitch, and then I have the 2 holes on each side of my needle, if you can see that. So from that pin, I'm going to count over 3 stitches or 3 holes, and I'm going to put the eye in the 3rd hole. So 1, 2, 3. And do the same on the other side. 1, 2, 3. And then just kind of have a look at it. Make sure you still feel like you're centered. I actually might be one. Oh no. If I fold it this way, I think it looks like center. So now we got to take all our stuff out so we can put the backs on. Just squeeze them together and listen for the clicks. Sometimes they don't click, but that was a really good example of the clicks. Okay. Now you're going to re-put in your stuffing. And if you want, you can do a little bit of the body, but don't do too much because it will get a bit in your way when you're going around the inside. And I kind of made mine so it's a little bit longer than rounder. So I pushed it, whoopee. So I pushed it more up than out to the sides. But don't stretch your neck stitches while you're doing that. So just be cautious of that. I think that's good enough for now. I'm not even going to put all of this in here because we need to do our legs. I just want that out of our way. I also can't remember if I stuffed my legs now or after I did my next row. So we're going to do it next row first. I feel like that would make it easier going around the legs, so that's probably how I did it. Okay, so when we're going around, we're actually going to be decreasing all the way around. So technically, going from 36, decreasing all the way around, should take us to 18. But when we get to these corners, we're going to probably be putting an extra decrease in here so that we don't have a hole there. So we could have 24, 28 decreases all the way around. So don't worry how many decreases you have, as long as you're decreasing around and not leaving any holes between the body and the leg. So I'm going to count mine out, but don't worry if your number is different. It's all going to depend where we chose to lay those decreases in front and behind the leg. Okay, so decrease 1. So I'm going to go here and here. Decrease 2. Decrease 3. And when you do the decrease around the knot, you're going to go decrease, half your decrease, and then around the stitch, half your decrease on the other side. I've already forgot what number I'm on. Just keep decreasing. Decrease. Decrease. And so now when we get here, just make sure you're decreasing here and right close to your leg so you don't have a hole. I think naturally you'd want to go here, but I'm going to go down under in here. If I can get in there. Just under one. I need under both. If you come to where you can't get through both, put your darning needle or something in there. Spin it around a little bit, and that sometimes will make the hole a little bigger for your hook to get in. There we go. And then decrease again. And decrease again, making sure you're going right up close to where your leg starts. Decrease. Decrease. Thought I did something funny there, but it's just my piece of thread there. Okay. So decrease. I'm going around my tie. Decrease. Make sure you're getting down in an extra stitch here so you don't have a hole. Decrease. And I'll count mine out for you once I'm done, but it's not really going to matter. Decrease, and I'm back at my other leg, so I'm going to decrease nice and close so there's no hole there. If you do end up missing a stitch that you should have went in and end up with a hole, before you go to the next row, you're going to want to stitch that up with a piece of thread. But you shouldn't have to if you get nice and close to the leg there. I haven't been watching if I'm in the camera frame doing this. getting close to the end here. So you're just going to have to try and figure out where you want to go here. Don't worry if you go over your stitch marker, because your next row is just another row of decreases. I ended up right there, and I will count those out, let you know how many I had. So I had 26 single crochet or decreases. So for me, I'm going to have about 13 decreases on the next row, and you'll have about half of whatever you did in the previous row, assuming you bothered counting. So for row 24, we're just going to decrease all the way around again. So 1 decrease, 2 decrease, 3 decrease, 4 decrease, 5 decrease, 6 decrease, 7 decrease, 8 decrease, 9 decrease, 10 decreases, 11 decreases, 12 decreases, and 13 brings me right back to my stitch marker. Again, do not worry if you have more or less than 15 or 13. And that is where I'm going to stop. So I'm going to slip stitch and tie that off. Leave quite a bit of a string because we're going to go around to close it up, but we might go up and through the back to kind of bring the legs in a bit if they're spread out too far. Oh, I didn't. Oh, I left a lot, didn't I? Okay. I'm going to take my stitch marker out. So first you're going to start by stuffing your legs. And when you stuff your legs, you want to kind of make it so that the bottom is flat, so he'll stand up a little better. And I will tell you, every one that I've done like this, they do not really stay flat. But I also might not be taking my time. But you do have that option if you want to try and keep them flat as you're stuffing. So just slowly go around, adding a little bit, trying to keep them the same amount. See, that one's a little too much in that one maybe. Then I'll probably do the opposite, not put enough in the last one. Yep. So just kind of feel, so my those two feel like they could use a little bit more. And while I'm doing this, I'm only doing this in the number 4 yarn, but because this is the same basic pattern that I used for the farm animals, if you've done those, I tested all of those in the plush blanket yarn, the number 6 yarn. So I would think if you wanted to make this bigger out of the plush yarn, it would work, because basically I think it's just an extra row in the head and an extra row in the body. So that shouldn't make a huge difference if you're upsizing your yarn. If you do make it bigger in a bigger plush yarn, love to hear how it turned out. Sorry, I'm going in little tiny bits. I don't know why I'm not putting a big chunk in, because it looks like this whole chunk that I grabbed is going in there. His head keeps misshaping on me a bit. So, yeah, I think I'm putting it all in. Now I'm just gonna run in and close, run down and get my metal needle that I have. I don't really like it, but these new hooks or needles I bought, just holding them and pulling stuff, they bend, and you can see the plastic mark up. So I think I need a stronger needle. All right, so thread your needle. And we're going to close this guy up. We're just going to go in and out. Let's go down first maybe. And I'm going to be going still through the top loop. And watch that you don't tangle up your thread that you're using or get it wrapped around a leg. And if you are watching this, trying to do it in the plush yarn, I would go about halfway, pull it, and then do the other half and pull it. Just so you don't, it's a little easier and maybe less chance of breaking your yarn when you pull it tight. Because we are going through, usually you're going through 6 stitches. But you're going to be going through twice as many this time. Alright, this is my last one. So then you're just going to pull that closed, and you might kind of have to help it squeeze together so you don't pull the stitches too much where you decreased. And then you're going to have to get in there and tie a knot without losing your tension. And I'm just pushing quite firmly on my on the last piece of thread I grabbed. How do I do that when I'm only doing half? I do not know. Oh, there we go. If you can find the right string, you can close it halfway and then pull it the rest of the way. There, so it should look like that. And yeah, it's going to be messy, but we don't see that really. And you might have to kind of straighten out your feet a little bit. He's going to look a little awkward and a little funny, but once you get the rest of his parts on, he'll start looking a little better. And if you want, because his feet will kind of go side to side, you can kind of go up. Be very careful going through, because these stitches are already spread a little bit. You can go up, pull, and that will bring your I'm trying to show you without actually looking like, so see, they will come together more if you do that. Then go back down and then come out, and you'll have to tie it again. Be careful not to have too much of a dip here when you do that. Or you could go around and you could actually sew his legs together on the insides, just grabbing a couple of stitches. I'm not too concerned about this one, so I'm not going to worry about where the legs are. So we might as well make the nose and the tail while we have this color out. So I'm going to start with the nose. So you're going to make your loop with the knot on the end, insert your hook, grab your yarn, pull up and through, chain 1. Remember, that doesn't count as a stitch. We're just attaching the yarn to the loop, and we're going to put 6 single crochets into the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one, and next we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 8. So 1 and 2, and then our increase, 3 and 4. And repeat that, 5, 6, and an increase, 7 and 8. Row 3, you're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 10. So 1, 2, 3, and increase, 4 and 5. And repeat again, 6, 7, 8, and an increase, 9 and 10. You should be kind of getting a bit of a triangle going, and make sure that it's curving up and not the other way, and you're on the wrong side. Row 4, you're going to do 4 single crochets and 1 increase. Repeat that all the way around for 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase, 5 and 6. Repeat that, 7, 8, 9, 10, and your increase, 11 and 12. And for row 5, you're just going to do 12 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then you're just going to slip stitch into the next stitch and tie that off, leaving enough of a tail to sew that on later. Now we're going to do the tail, and we're going to start the same way, our knot with the loop on the end. And this one's not going to be fun. You're going to grab your yarn, pull up, make your chain, remembering that is just to attach your yarn, and we're going to put 4 single crochets into the loop. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And because this one's it's so tiny, I'm not going to use a stitch marker because there's just too much to be in my way. Rows 2 to 5 is going to be 4 single crochets all the way around. And I'm just going to do all 4 rows at once. So that'll be 16 single crochets around. Just take your time, and I'm going to try and go slow. 1, make sure you're going all the way over into your next stitch. 2, and then it's not curving the wrong way. You want the point coming towards you. So all the way around for your 3rd stitch. Pull it tight if you need to as you're going. That's 3, and here comes 4. And just keep going around. 5, 6, 7. I don't know why I'm crocheting so tight here. 8, 9, 10, 11, 'll do that one again. There we go. 11, 12. I'm sorry I made this so tiny, guys. Okay, our last little row here. 13, 14, 15, and 16. There's no way I crocheted the other one this tight because, well, maybe I did. Seems longer though. If you're happy with the length of that, you're just going to slip stitch in the next stitch, and then you'll tie that off. Okay, now we're going to do the ears, so grab your darker brown. Make your knot with the loop on the end, and you're going to need to make 2 of these. Insert your hook, grab your yarn, chain 1, remembering that does not count as a stitch, and we are going to do 6 single crochets into the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Grab a stitch marker if you're using one. And for row 2, you're going to be doing 2 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 8. So 1, 2, and an increase, 3 and 4. 5, 6, and an increase, 7 and 8. Row 3, you're going to do 8 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Row 4, you're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, repeat that around for a total of 10. 1, 2, 3, and an increase, 4 and 5. 6, 7, 8, and an increase, 9 and 10. Row 5, you're just going to do 10 single crochets all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Row 6, you're going to do 3 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that around for a total of 8. 1, 2, 3, and a decrease for 4. Repeat that. 5, 6, 7, and a decrease for 8. Row 7, you're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease. Repeat that all the way around for a total of 6. So 1, 2, and a decrease for 3. Repeat that. 4, 5, and a decrease for 6. Rows 8 to 10 are just 6 single crochets all the way around. 8, 9, 10, so that's 3 rows. So I'm just going to do 6 times 3, which is 18, and then just flip my marker when I hit a set of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flipping my marker, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Flipping my marker, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So I'm going to get rid of my stitch marker, and then I'm just going to fold it in half so that where we ended is on this side, and we're going to put 2 single crochets across the top going through the front and the back of the ear. So like this, front and back under both of the V's. So 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets. And then you're just gonna tie that off and leave enough of a tail to sew that on. And so you're gonna have to make 2 of those. So if you're on your first one, I will put a screenshot in the next frame with the timestamp to go back and redo, do it again for the second one. And if you're done your second one, just keep on watching and we'll go to the next part. Okay, now we're going to start the horn. And you're going to make your knot with the loop on the end. Insert your hook, grab your yarn, chain 1. Remember that doesn't count as a stitch, that's just attaching your yarn to the loop. And for round 1, we're going to do 5 single crochets into the loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For rows 2 to 25, we are going to do 5 single crochets all the way around, and I'm not going to use a stitch marker just because it's going to be tiny again. And as we go, we're going to stuff, so I don't know how far I'm going to go yet, but maybe about every 10 rows we'll stop and we'll add a little stuffing. And I may be fast forwarding because I've done this twice now and I just about fell asleep listening to myself count. So 24 more rows of 5. 24 times 5 is 120, so we're just going to do 120 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure you get your work curling the right way. Keep on counting. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and I'm going to stop there at 25, and I'm going to add a little bit of stuffing. There we go. And keep on going. 26. 27. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Add a little bit more stuffing. Somebody in one of my comments said to use scissors for this, so that might be an option to try as well. Because it is tricky in these little areas. I don't know let's see. Oh, actually, look at that. I was told this months ago. And so the first time I'm trying it. So that scissor trick worked great. I do not recall who said that at the moment. But if you're watching this now, great tip. So I was at 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. Let's add a little bit of more stuffing. Keep on going. $76, $77, $78, $79, $80, $81, $82, $83, $84, $85, $86, $87, $88, $89, $90, $91, $92, $93, $94, $95, $96, $97, $98, $99, and $100. Let's add a little bit more stuffing. Oopsie. All right, so we were at 100. We got 20 more. So this will be our last little batch. I'm going to start back at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, whoops, 20, sorry, then you're just going to slip stitch. Ooh, what was that? I didn't think there was any snow on the roof. And then leave yourself a bit of a tail. Now we're going to add some wire, and I'm just going to show you the wire that I use. This is just rubber coated garden wire. If you check, this is from the dollar store or any of your garden centers or hardware, anywhere that sells plants seasonally. If you see this, grab 1 or 2 packs because it comes in very handy over the year if you're making anything that you need wire for. And you are going to measure your wire maybe about 1 inch longer on both sides because you're going to want to bend it so that it doesn't come through. And then whatever wire you're using, if you're using like me with a rubber coating, you're just going to want to take that off. Other things you could use it on. I've left it on for other things, but I don't want to see the green show through the yellow. And you're going to bend one end over. If you have a second set of pliers, this will come in handy right now. So you can hold on to that and twist it with the other set. Or your hand, whichever. I'd start with your hand and then just make it a little neater. And then do that for the other end. Just double check. A little shorter is better than a little longer. This is when you need 3 hands. All right, that should be about good. Just pinch down any pokey ends you might have. Try and keep it straight. I know this isn't professional, but this will get the job done. And then you're going to slowly weave that up one side of your work. If you try and get between the yarn and the stuffing, it will go in a lot easier. I can't see it. There it is. I have no trick for this to try and make it easier. I'm going to do this part off camera because I don't know how long I'm going to be doing this. Just take your time and gently get it pushed up in there. Oh, before I finish, I did find a trick. I took a little tiny hook. I got it wrapped on the loop here. And now I'm pulling it and it seems to be coming down and through. Watch your ends here that you don't snag your stitches. Oh, I lost it. But anyway, that will work. I got it right to here. See if I can get that in there again. See, right like that. And then I grabbed it and pulled it down. Okay. So assuming you had a little hook, that will have made a huge difference because I don't know how long I would have been there for. And then you're just going to stuff your last little bit in the bottom now Try and make sure you're not pushing your end out here. Even if you just keep it on the something solid while you push it in. Oh, it's right there, so I guess I won't be pushing it in. There we go. All right, so that should be okay. Oh no, I don't have that deep enough. A bump there. Okay. So once you're happy with your stuffing and your wire, we're just going to close that up. And I'm just going to weave in and out of the top loops here. And then just close it. Give it a tie somewhere. And hide that in just a little ways. This is going to be our bottom, so it's going to be like this. So we're just going to put that in a little ways, so a little piece will be sticking out before we start sewing it to the head. So about like this. And we'll do the little horn, and that's exactly the same except shorter. So you're going to make your knot with the loop on the end. Insert your hook, grab your yarn, chain 1, and do your 5 single crochets into the loop for round 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now for rows 2 to 5, you're going to do 5 single crochets all the way around. And 5 times 5 is 25, so we're just going to do 25 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. And then you're just going to slip stitch in the next stitch, tie that off, and leave a little bit of a tail to sew it onto the other piece of horn. Now you're going to put a little bit of stuffing in the shorter horn. Okay, so I think we have all of our pieces done now. So let's start putting him together. So we're going to start with the nose. You're going to put a little bit of stuffing in his nose. Grab your pins. You're going to want the string down on the bottom. And just kind of line it up so it's about one row below the eyes. So this is where you put your eyes in. So you're going to kind of start pinning just down here below the eye. So put your first one in the center. And then you put one at the bottom. No specific row, just kind of where it falls naturally if you have it stuffed enough. Watch that it's staying centered between the eyes. And then you're going to put one on each side. And if you remember, there's a little trick. If you put it straight in and then bend it out, that will hold it pretty tight. And then just put a couple more around. Till you're happy that it's nice and secure and doesn't seem like it's going to move any. Grab your whatever needle you're planning on using. And you can start by going underneath where your knot is. Grab a bar of a stitch or a row. And then you're going to come up in the next stitch. I kind of have two there, so I'm going to come to the closest one. Then you're going to go down in the next stitch, underneath a row or a bar, however you can fit it. Make sure you're staying underneath the nose so you don't see your stitches. Come up the next stitch. That's right there for me. Always keep an eye on how your nose is sitting on your face. Down and under a row and up. And back up the next stitch. Now these next couple stitches I'm going to put straight in this row right here and go across. back up. And back down. Now I caught some stuffing there. You want to make sure you don't catch the stuffing. And back up. And back down. And you should be right close to where you started. You go one or two more times if you want. I'm going to go under this one and then see. So I think my first stitch was in there. I think I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to come down and tie under one of these stitches. Tie it twice. I'm just tying mine once for the video, but you'll be tying yours nice and securely, and then put it out the back. And then give that a cut. And then we're going to put the ears on. So about the third row, so here is your first row where you made your loop, second row, and then we're going to be going around this third row here. So 1, 2, 3, if you want to pin it, you can. And I'm just kind of making it even with the front leg. So you're going to go 1, 1, 2, and around this third row. Then you're going to go up through the first single crochet in the ear. You're going to go the second stitch in that third row, and then the second stitch in the ear. And that is all I'm going to do, except I'm going to go back down so I can tie under the ear. So I'm just going to catch one of these stitches here and tie a knot. Now if you want to go a couple of times around, you can do that if that makes you feel like it's a little more secure. But since I'm tying these in the back, I'm not too worried about it. And then you're going to go down where you just made that tie and out the back in the center of the head somewhere. Now get your other ear, and now you got to line it up with the one you just did. I'm going to thread my needle first, otherwise I'm going to end up having to put it down to do that. Grab your pin, just kind of line them up from the top. So 1, 2, and 3. So it's going to be going in this row right here, right across. You can have a little look. And if you're happy with it, you're going to go in and around. You don't need your pin no more. Through that first single crochet. Then the next stitch beside in the row. And through that second stitch in the ear. And remember, we went back down in that same stitch so we could tie it on the bottom side where we won't see it. Just find yourself a stitch to go in. Give it a tie, go back in that same stitch and where you came out with your other string from the other ear. And you're going to tie those up. Oh, this guy is lopsided looking. Okay. Don't tie too tight unless for some reason you want to shape the ears and the head, but they're pretty close to the top of the head, so you most likely won't want to be doing that. And then you're just going to hide that down inside and out somewhere. So we should look about like that now. And let's put his little tail on, and I'm not going to stuff his tail. You can if you want, but it's fairly stiff as it is, I think. And what did we have here? 4 stitches. So I'm going to put the string in the back, kind of place it on that hump right there where the bum is. I'm just going to go around a couple of times in there and then up through the tail. So just like that. In an ideal world, you're going to be doing that 4 times. I'm not sure if that's happening or not. So that's 2. I can't tell where the stitch is. Three. And maybe I don't want to go down that low, I don't think. 4. Have a look at it, and if you need to adjust anything, do that now. That'll work. So I'm just going to tie it right here to one of these stitches. And then hide it down inside somewhere. Maybe out the bottom. Alright, so we're about like this now. So let's do the horn next. So this, remember, is our bottom. Kind of see where you want it to sit on the head, and then make your curve how you want it. The further back, the less top heavy he'll be, because he might want to tip a bit like forward. So the further back you make your curve, the better. And then just kind of add your little front piece. So I'm about 1, 2, 3, about the 4th row down. I'm just going to pin that so I don't lose it. Oh, oops. Poked myself there. It's probably going to move around a little bit on you, but as long as you don't get it lower, you can always change your curve to match where it needs to be. Okay. So you're going to go under the bar of a stitch and up. And it's 5 single crochets around, so you should have about 5 stitches that you're going through. Oh, and watch the pins if you're using them. See, I think I just pushed it down 1 row right now. Oops, I missed one part of that. There we go. And you can obviously put that anywhere you want. You can make more of them if you want. Just remember the weight. But if your curve is on the back, it should be okay, because the weight should be a little more towards the back. I think that's good enough. Maybe I'll just go down there one more time before I tie it. And when you're happy with it, you're going to tie that in a knot. And then pull it in and hide it inside somewhere. Oh, I feel like I'm going to break this needle right now. There we go. All right, I'm going to pre-thread my needle here before I get going. Now this time you want to make sure that this is on the top when it's straight out. Make your kind of curve. Whoop. And to see where you want your horn to be. main point is to get it right on the center for when you start sewing. And I'm going to put a couple, I think these white ones are bigger. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put my darning needle in there. It's right in the center and right down in the center loop that I started. I don't want to go through there. There we go. So just like that. And then maybe a pin or two in the back. And the front. Now when you are sewing this, you're going to be very careful not to put your stitches where you're going to see them, because this will stand out on the brown yarn. Alright, just check that it's not going to be top heavy here, and I think it's okay. So what you're going to want to do is go under your row. Well, you can do this anyway. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up through, go down, up through, go down, and hopefully not break my needle. You know what? I need the metal one, I think. They just don't make things anymore like they used to. My old pink one, I'm sure, was at least 30 years old, maybe more. Alright, now go up. Make sure when you go up, you're coming through the center. Where are you, center? There we go. I don't need those anymore. And I went a little further ahead than I wanted to, so I'm going to go backwards. And then under the next row in the center, just watch as you're moving it around that you're keeping your horn centered. And now I'm going to go back up and out. That I might want to go up the next stitch there. Right there. So I'm going up and down the center. And I'm going to go one more time, I think. Just over the next stitch. And down in the center. And out. So when I did the other one, I did go along the sides and then along the sides, but I think this is a better way, and you're not going to see your stitches. And I'm going to go up right through where I just was, and yours might be different, but I don't want to see that yellow thread in the back. And then now you can decide if you need to secure it a little differently on the sides. I'm going to go back down and then I'm going to tie it there. Somewhere where I can hide it. Also remember, you are going to be putting a little bow around there, so that will also help secure it. Oops, what did I do? There we go. And I'm just going to tie it right on that same, right on that same thread. And hide it down and out somewhere. Now fix it how you want it. Oh, I keep knocking everything over. Okay, we're going to put some white around the eye. not very good at this part. So you have to kind of just bear with me a bit. Do your own if you can. So you're going to come down through the center somewhere, and you're going to come over onto one side of the eye. Make sure you're leaving about half your thread on the other side. And come up and go down. If you can, go down 2 rows under. So I'm here, there's a row there, and then I'm down on this side, along the eye. And then you're going to come back up where you just went in. And you're going to come out where you just went out. How am I going to show you this? There we go. It's just because you can't go all the way around the eye without it going underneath. So you got to make a couple little sections around. And the closer you can get to the eye, the better. But make sure you're not pulling it under the eye. And then you're just going to go over. You can try going all the way around. Actually, I am going to go all the way around. Let's try that. The other one, I didn't quite go all the way around. But this might, the eye might be in the way. Then I'm going to come up with in the center. And there I've kind of got it all the way around his eye. Just because of the cartoon look, he has white around the eye. You could also just do it the one time right here. Okay, which thread is longer? I think I got enough here. So I gotta go and I gotta match this stitch over here. So I didn't have to come up because I had enough string. But I didn't know if I did. So now you're gonna have to match all your stitches in the reverse for this eye. So I went up to there, so I'm gonna go up to here, up. And I'm gonna go down 2 rows. Just under the eye if I can. Then I'm going to come back up here, right, and back out where I just was. And if you have a better way, definitely do it your way. And then you're going to come back in here where you started and then back up the center. There we go. Ideally, you don't want it to look as pointy as I have it. And then just tie those. And you'll thread them back out the back of the head. Careful not to pull so tight that you put the threads under the eyes. And if you have a hole there, just kind of push it back together. Now, if you want, we'll give him some little eyebrows. And for this one, I just did little triangles. But I think I might just do, oh, I better keep it the same, I guess. I have no idea how I did that. So let's go just in front of the eye there. Then we're going to go up like this and then back down here. So I'm going over one hole and then back, and then I'm going to go back in there and come out the center. And I didn't leave myself enough thread on the one side, so I just got to loosen that. And then I'm just going to match that on the other side with my longer thread. So I started right is it here? Up, down, I think so. Nope. Then you're going to go up a stitch, over a hole and a stitch, and then back in that same hole and out where you started. And you might have to do that a couple times, play with your placement. I pulled this one tighter, so that's why this eye looks a little different. Then you're going to tie it. Not too tight, and hide those ends out the back. Hide that if you need to. And just check that your eyebrows are still how you want them and kind of fluff out that spot. Alright, let's do the nose. And for the nose, he's got kind of like a little puffy bump of a nose. So all I did was I just kind of went around and around a whole bunch of times. Like, he's cute, but he's kind of not cute. So we're not really going for the cuteness factor here. So I'm just going to go across, a stitch on this side, a stitch on this side. And then I'm just going to go around and around, pulling it fairly tight when I go around. And just layer upon layer. Make sure you're sticking in the same 2 holes the whole time. Oh, that takes a lot. Maybe I'm going to loosen up a whoop. Maybe not. Just keep playing with it until you're happy. I think my other one was better, but I think this is about as good as I'm going to get here. So I'm just going to come over, tie it. Nice and close to the nose there. And then I'm just going to hide those down and inside. And I wish this had a wider end on it. So make sure you're going in the same spot and then out. So that's okay. I might have to play with a few of those threads. I have one little bump there I don't like. And then I think for the last little touch, we got to do the little bow to tie his horn on. So the bow was kind of more secure. I went under one stitch down here in the back. Then I had half my string on one side and half on the other. I brought it under the ear. And then tied it at the top in a bow. And I think you have to tie it upside down so it'll work, but let's try it this way first. Might work. No, I think it wants to go upside down on me. Yeah, I should have tied it upside down. I'm going to straighten my horn and turn it the other way. You'll play with it till you're happy. Make sure it's kind of centered above there. And then once you're happy with the bow, you want it to kind of stand up. So the shorter you can get it, the better. And then just cut your ends how you want them. Whoop. You may have to water down the ends and pin them so they'll hang more down. All right, so thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoy my videos, to hit the subscribe button and you'll be notified every time I load a new video. Or you can also give me a like or leave a comment down at the bottom. I think that's everything. So hope you guys have a great day and happy crocheting.